Right now, there are a number of CS2 investments I think are being seriously overlooked. So in this video, I'm sharing my top picks with a $400 monthly budget and the reasoning behind each one. Valve's recent reload and ammo update means that demand for certain weapons will likely shift over the coming weeks. This X-Post from Thor breaks down which guns benefited the most, and the big winners were the Galil and M4A4. The P2000 is also getting a bit of attention, not because total bullets changed, but because of how the magazines are distributed now relative to the USPS. This is important to us because when demand changes, skin prices often follow. For the M4A4 specifically, I looked for skins around the $100 to $200 range that haven't already seen insane price pumps. Ideally, they're from older cases too, with limited overall supply and fewer new skins being unboxed. Looking at all the classified and COVID M4A4s with their factory new supply and cheapest CS Float listings as of the 20th of March, a few stand out. The Desolate Space, Neo Noir, and In Living Color all sit around the same price, roughly $200, but compared to skins with similar supply, they could be undervalued. This video's sponsor, SkinSwap, is giving you a skin worth up to $50 entirely for free whenever you do your first trade and use my referral code. If you want to refresh your loadout, you can trade your skins for brand new ones in just a couple of seconds. Plus, their market tab now integrates cheap listings from Chinese sites so you can access the best prices without the need for a Chinese ID or bank account. They accept deposits via crypto, MasterCard, and Visa. If you want to cash out, SkinSwap makes that simple too with instant sell options to PayPal or crypto. On top of that, they run free daily, weekly, and monthly giveaways with the chance to earn extra entries simply by trading. Use the link below for a 3% lifetime sales bonus and a free skin worth up to $50. Big thanks to SkinSwap for supporting the channel. Take the Hellfire for example. Its supply is almost identical to the In Living Color, but it's sitting at around $800. Now yes, it's from the Hydra collection which trades up to the OG gloves, and that matters. But I'd strongly argue that the Hellfire isn't at $800 because of trade-up value. Instead, a big chunk of that price came from pumps several months back. So we hope these skins will see hide and play skin demand, but if groups decide to pump M4s again, that could accelerate things. I'm going to choose the Desolate Space at its cheaper entry point. I decided to focus on the M4s as I think it could see the most significant shift in usage, but I would encourage you to follow a similar process for the other weapons I mentioned and see where some other opportunities lie. Next, I want to talk about a category that is receiving a lot of mixed opinions in the investing world: cases. Are they gone for good? Is EU regulation going to result in all cases being turned into terminals? Will new cases only be added to the Armory? Who knows? It's all speculation at this point. But what we do know is that the market reacts whenever a case gets removed from active drop. Just look at this price graph for the Fever case. I'll let you guess when they got removed. And here's a similar pattern for the Recoil. So the real question is, which one will go next? Previously, most people thought it would be either Recoil or Dreams and Nightmares since they were the oldest. I lean towards Recoil mainly because Valve doesn't revenue share on Dreams and Nightmares keys, so it makes them more money. Now though, the conversation has shifted to Revolution or Dreams and Nightmares. There's several factors to consider. First, Dreams and Nightmares is about a year older, released in January 2022, but Valve doesn't always remove cases in order. Also, since they've just taken out Recoil, which contains gloves, to replace it with a glove terminal, I find it unlikely we'll get a new set of gloves immediately, unless they simply include the same ones. More likely than not, I imagine a terminal which shares either the Fever case knives, or if we're lucky, the Shattered Web knives with the Gamma finishes. Man, that Emerald skeleton does look sexy. In that scenario, Valve might prefer to rotate out a knife case to keep things balanced between the number of cases and terminals with knives and gloves. Over recent months, unboxing numbers between the 3 remaining active duty cases is actually very close, but I wouldn't be surprised if Revolution starts to slow down a bit as new gloves take the spotlight. Overall, it's a tough call, and I'd be curious to know which case you think will be removed next in the comments below. A poll on my channel from a few days ago had this result, and at this stage, I think I'm inclined to agree. The Dreams and Nightmares case itself sells for more on the Steam market, so they get a higher cut on the sales fees. And with Valve keeping 100% of key sale revenue, it just seems like a smarter choice for them. You could definitely expose yourself to both, but personally I think I'm going to lean towards the Revolution. They've recently gone up with the Recoil removal, so while I'll pick some up today, I'm not rushing in heavily. I'll probably slowly accumulate over the next few months. As always, I want to mention that this video is not professional financial advice. CS2 skins are virtual items and can be highly volatile. Past performance is not indicative of future results, so please do your own further research and consider your financial position before making any decisions. I wanted to point out a couple of months ago, I recommended the Commander Rixor agent, and their prices are currently going insane. So if you're holding on to any, now might be the time to lock in some profits and recoup some of your capital. And honestly, it's probably definitely worth checking the prices of any agents in your inventory, as there's been a lot of movement across the board. Now, while I don't often make recommendations in this monthly series based almost purely on pump speculation, I think I've seen enough over the last few months to make some interesting observations. Pumps tend to target skins with low supply, but more importantly, skins that are hard to obtain. That usually means they're either from older cases and are difficult or expensive to trade up to. If we take a look at CS2's data, which tries to estimate overall case supply and uses current unboxing numbers to make theoretical extinction predictions, we can see which cases might be most prone to this. The closer to the top of the list, the lower the supply. I will quickly mention that some cases are not included due to difficulty making accurate predictions, which you can see marked in red here. Now, if I take a look at some skins from each of these low supply cases, it might paint a better picture. Let's consider the M249 Magma, for example, a mil-spec from the Winter Offensive case. It's up 258% in the last 3 months. Or what about the P90 Elite build from the Falchion case, up nearly 500% in the same period? You get the point, and I didn't just choose those examples randomly. In each of their respective collections, they had the largest float ranges for their rarity, making them the most desirable for trade-ups. Therefore, if we take a look at some of the other collections with similar supply numbers, we might be able to find some skins that are yet to realize any gains of this degree. Personally, a couple that stand out to me are the P90 Traction from the Horizon collection, which trades up to the AK Neon Rider and Deagle Code Red, and also the XM Scumbria and M249 Nebula Crusader from the Shadow case that trade up to the M4 Golden Coil and USPS Kill Confirmed. All of these have full 0 to 1 float ranges, which is exactly what you want. If you're trying to find your own picks, the checklist is pretty simple. Large float range, good trade-up outcomes, and no recent price spike. I won't go through every collection, but take a look at this list and try to find some options for yourself. If you've made it this far in the video, I've got something for you. This month, I'm giving away the brand new AWP Queen's Gambit in field tested to one of you. To enter, just like the video and leave a comment including the word Queen. The winner will be chosen on the 31st. Good luck. With the Call to Armory skin competition coming to a close on March 13th, and the Armory receiving an update at the end of April last year, I believe there's a decent chance an Armory change could arrive in the coming weeks. Therefore, it may be one of the last chances to buy in on collections that I think could be removed, such as the Elemental Craft stickers and Train 2025. For the Elemental Crafts, I've been periodically looking at the supply data, and some stickers are still being applied in the tens of thousands per month. In this table, I track the total applications for each sticker in November, January, and now March, with the monthly applications column taking the average between the first set of data and today. The difference columns take the percentage increase of each sticker relative to November and January respectively. We've then got the Steam prices and any discrepancies in the price and application order. I've personally stocked up on high heats over the last few months, but now the bolt strikes actually seem worthwhile considering. The application rates for this one and the bolt charge are actually nearing the high heat, but at a much cheaper price point. I think the Boom Detonation Glitter also seems like a reasonable pick, with applications up significantly over the last few months at only 16 cents. I usually prioritize cheaper items which have greater multiple potential, hence I tend to buy the blues or purples, but the Bolt Strike foil at nearly $2 cheaper than the other pinks and sitting around 50k applications also seems a little out of place. I'm going to pick up roughly $35 worth of each. There are also 3 skin collections currently featured in the Armory: Overpass 2024, Sport and Field, and Train 2025. While there are certainly arguments to be made for each one getting removed, which I've discussed at length in prior videos, I think there is a lot of potential for the Train collection in particular, as it currently has the least supply and many of the skins have limited float ranges, which makes trade-ups for desired skins difficult. The highly float capped Tech 9 Whiteout is obviously the prime example here. Therefore, I'm personally buying into skins like the factory new P90 Straight Dimes and Org Steel Sentinel, which are the only industrial grade skins with the full 0 to 1 float range. If you want to buy into Sport and Field, the float isn't as important, as the M4 Fade is float capped and skins of any condition will still output a factory new Fade. For Overpass, the Negev Warbang is the only non-float capped industrial, and the Nova Worst Hole is the only non-float capped mil-spec, which is where I'd look at those cheaper entry points. You could also buy in directly to the Classified or Coverts if you have the budget, and I tend to prioritize factory new skins whenever I can, the exception being the Sport and Field collection. Finally, I wanted to quickly touch on the terminals. I've seen the price of the Genesis terminal going up alongside the release of the Dead Hand collection. I have 2 potential explanations for this. First, some people are mistakenly buying it thinking they can get the new gloves from it instead of buying the Dead Hand terminal. Second, with all this speculation that Valve is going to move away from cases entirely and terminals are the future, some believe this is the next big investment equivalent. And while this is possible, I don't think there's much hope for the Genesis terminal. The skins aren't great, and most importantly, there's no golds. Plus, it's likely to hang around the active pool for years at this point, so personally, I'd be steering clear. Recently, I've been running a simple CS2 skin strategy that generated profits almost every day. So if you want to see exactly how it works, check out this video next. Thanks so much for watching and take care.